Welcome to Family Friday. You know, Americans treasure their independence. The Pilgrims, we go back to 1620, sought refuge from the rule of the Church of England. And then, about 10 years later, 17 years later, Roger Williams had to leave the Pilgrims, settle in a territory we now know as Rhode Island. And he did it so that he could be in a spot away from the Pilgrims' influence to be able to worship as he wanted to and to do the things he needed to do, or at least as he saw it, politics and etc. Then the colonists in the 1760s and the 1770s, they grew tired of King George III and the English Parliament. And they declared their independence and fought for it and won it. And today, we could go through many times, but even today, Americans chafe under the health mandates, brutality from law enforcement officers, and traditional values. In the 1800s, if I go back, Americans moved to the West to get away from the influence of the establishment in the East Coast. And so Americans just want their independence, to be free to do whatever they want. But I have a question. What happens if everyone is free from everyone else? Is society or are families possible when there are really no connections, no bondages or bounds that pull people together? How long can a house divided against itself stand? And so I want you to think about this concept, this virtue of submitting to one another. Can that even exist today? Now, when the Apostle Paul writes, "Be filled with the Spirit," that's found in Ephesians 5:18, he lists several things that are the result, the fruit, of being in the Spirit. And one of those is submitting to one another. So when we are in tune with God's lead, we submit. Philippians chapter 2, verse 4 echoes the same idea. Look to each other's interests and not merely to your own. So in your family, in your marriage, how well do you know and look for and understand the needs and interests of others? How often do you yield to those needs and those interests? Now, John Gottman, and I've spent many times talking about him, even went through one of his books. He's a relationship expert, and he lists the willingness to let other people influence you as one of the 7 keys to having a strong relationship. And so this idea of yielding, submitting, being under the influence of someone else at times is very, very important. For the believer who is in tune with the Spirit, yielding to the needs of others is crucial. It's imperative. A good husband listens to his wife, and he supports her needs, her interests. A good parent listens to her child and yields to the child's needs whenever possible. Now, there are going to be times when needs of one person comes into conflict with the needs of others. Now, notice I've been saying needs, not wants. At such a time of conflict, a calm communication is vital to exploring the feelings and the values that underlie our perceived needs. And peaceful hearts that trust in the Lord, that trust the goodness of God are crucial to being able to establish priorities and resources so that everybody, every member of the family feels valued. As we proceed into Ephesians chapter 5, it will become apparent that there is a mutuality in a family, in a marriage, that demands give and take from everybody. I finish with a powerful statement made by Jesus. Here's what Jesus said: whoever wants to be great must be your servant, and who wants to be first must be the slave of all. For the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve. That's Mark chapter 10, verses 43 and 45. So until next time, know and understand the needs of your wife, your kids, and do what you can to ensure that those needs are taken care of.